Good morning and welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, where we explore the behaviors of organizations and our own behaviors that really are impacting how people perceive us, how we perceive ourselves, and how our clients and our vendors are perceiving us, how we are perceived in the world, how we're showing up. Are we showing up as powerfully as we think we are, or as we could be? I am Yvette C. Owens. I am your host of Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens. I'm also the creator and owner and founder of Destiny Speak Inc., as well as so many other programs. My signature program, Destiny Speak Out Loud, the achievement track, really takes you through 5 steps and pillars. This morning, we're talking about the power in you seeing you, the power in you seeing you. And that power is really critical today because there's so many people who, and it's always been critical, because so many people would like to identify you and classify you according to how they see you, or more importantly, how they want you to believe in yourself. And so if you're joining, as you join, come on in, share this, because there's power in you, and it's more so there's power in you seeing you. That way you are not going to be trapped by following and being comparing yourself to others. There is a unique ability within you, and knowing that, showing up in your own passion is going to take you much farther than if you were trying to be like everybody else. Because guess what? There's so many people mimicking. There's so many people doing that. So, and how do we show up as ourselves? How do I see? What's the power of me seeing me in me? Or the title of this is the power of you, the power in you seeing you. And that is that when you come full force with your passion, when you come full force with who you really are, and it's a journey, right? And it's an adventure. I was talking to someone yesterday, and we were talking about the journey that we're embarking upon together. And it's like, this is going to be fun. We're going to learn a lot about each other. We're learning about ourselves in this new space. And so if you're open to doing that, then you're going to get so much out of life. And life is not worth living if you're not getting a lot out of it, right? You're really discounting your adventure and your journey through life if you're not getting full passion out of it. And so let me liken it to this. As a singer, you can, when you're singing with a group, you'd want to blend in. You're not giving your full voice. You're not singing necessarily unless the whole group is singing full voice, right? Unless the whole group is on a crescendo, as we say in musical terms. But when you are able to just let loose and you just let everything in you go, have you been on the dance floor too? And you just like, I don't care what the latest dance is, I'm just going for it. So it's the same thing in singing, and it's the same thing in living your life out loud, right? And I just experienced this just recently, trying to really blend, and it was really only one other person there when we were singing together, and I noticed that that person was taking more of a lead within the song, as opposed to leading and blending so that we had the full body. So when I recognized that that was not going to happen in that space, I then realized I've got to turn on all of me and carry this whole background vocals by myself. And so I couldn't sing half voice because it was not going to fill the space that we needed to. I had to sing full voice. I had to sing full out, because the balance that I thought and the support that I thought I had, I didn't have. And so I want to I liken that to um, when we play full out as ourselves, then we attract those who want to play in that same space. So as I released my full voice, then the people who were listening to us engaged even more because they knew now they're hearing a fuller sound, they're hearing a more passionate sound. And so now people can connect with that, and the balance that the other person needed, because that person was no longer able or willing to support background and leading. Now that sound was more balanced because now I came with the full voice as a background when that other person was leading. And so we need to come together when we're coming in our space of who am I? Come out full voice, come out with everything that we have in us and be willing. And that means being vulnerable. And the beauty of being vulnerable is you'll learn more about what people like, and you'll learn more about what you like, and then you'll settle on where you want to settle in and decide how you want to live this out. Notice that you'll learn what people like, you'll learn what you like, but at the end of the day, you can balance the two and figure out where you decide you want to play because it works best for you. So I'm not suggesting that as we learn the power of being ourselves, that it's all about us and what we need and what we want, while it is in a sense for the most part. But when we also hear what other people are saying, you're really good at this, or this is what you bring to the world, then you want to capitalize on that because they see that in you, not because you're just meeting their every need and every whim. We're not about that, because that only results in anger and frustration, because you're going to feel like I'm giving all of me and nobody's giving me everything. I'm having to um, be accommodating in this scenario and accommodating that scenario, but who's accommodating me? And that's when we need to, again, like I did in that scenario, show up in full voice, and those who will connect will connect. And I think sometimes I know many times, we are thinking that, oh, I got to please so many people. Just know that you do have an audience. If nothing else, know that you have people you will connect with. People you will connect with for their benefit, and people you connect with for your own benefit. And we don't have to force that. We don't have to force that. That's why if you understand more about the power of you seeing you and then show up, as I did in that moment of singing in full voice, good morning, good morning. If we show up in full voice, then those who need to connect. And I use that analogy with singing because it was so true. And I didn't realize it until it just happened. Just show up in your full voice. That's exactly right. Let's show up in your full voice. Make sure that people are understanding and seeing and knowing this is everything that I am. Some of it you'll like, some of you don't like. Some of it I like, some of it I don't like. And that's where we continue to grow. That's where we continue to become more excellent. But until you see you, until you hear you, until you watch you, you won't know how to really navigate your situations. You won't really be in full authority, and how you will really own your space and require people to receive you. Because not everyone is there for you. And we need to be okay with that. Everybody is not for me, and that's okay. That's okay. And when we realize that, then that opens the door. So how many of you heard that it's a closed hand can't receive anything, right? But the open hand is able to not only give, but also receive. So as long as I show up as authentically and diplomatically as myself, right? It's authentic, but it's not just raw. Raw would have been before I put this makeup on, I put my clothes on, everything. We're not talking that. We're not talking raw, but we're talking real. Be real. We're talking real, not raw, right? Talking real, not raw. And so yes, a closed hand is never receiving anything. That's absolutely correct. And you must hear, you must hear, you must see. And so here's some pointers that I want to give you as we're wrapping up and we're talking today about learning the power of seeing you in you. Can I tell you, there's some people who see you and you don't see them, you and you don't see you, and they're out to make sure that they distort you to you. There's some people who see you and they see the power in you, and their whole purpose in life is to distort your view of you to you. So, what do? I learn more about me. I learn more about me. Yep, let's be raw and not real and not raw. So, how do you do that? You know your value. Know your core values. Know what matters to you. Know the top tier of your core values. Know and understand and embrace your experiences, your skills, your education, whether you learned it in an institution or a higher education, or you learned it on a job, or you learned it through life. Lessons learned are lessons learned. They're lessons learned, regardless of where you learned them. And that all makes up who I am. How you even learn. Are you a visual learner? Are you an audible learner? Know when you have reached your capacity. And I need to shut this down. I need to calm down. I need to breathe. I need to breathe. I need to just not even think anymore. You need to know that, because if you don't, it leads you to burn out. It leads you to overextending yourself. And that leads you to not being your very best. And we must know who we are, because once I know who I am, then I can show up in full voice, making a sound that is first pleasing to me, and then pleasing to those who like what they hear, who is connecting with, who is resonating with, who it is speaking to at that moment. So one, stop trying to be everything to everyone at all times. That's just impossible. It's impossible. Stop trying to be everything to everyone at all times. Serve yourself first. And I'm not talking narcissistic. I'm not talking, I'm everything, I'm it, I'm entitled. I'm not talking that. I'm talking about there's a depth within each one of you. There is a depth, a well of greatness. There's a well of information. There's a well of experiences that other people, but first and foremost, that you need to embrace, that you need to acknowledge, because then you can show up in all of your strength. You can show up in all of your voice. You can show up in all of your passion, knowing when to harness it and when to let it go, so that we can shift this world that needs every one of us to show up in full voice. So if you're saying, yep, I get this and I'm doing that, and great, I do have a template, a handout, a product, if you will, that I'm willing to give to you today that will help you go through identifying and seeing the power in you. If you would like that, just DM me your email address and I'll email it off to you so that you can start to see your value. It'll help you go through what's my core values, what's my skill set, what's all of those things that you need to really take the time to really see, because we don't take the time. We don't. We keep going after the next. I need to get this. I need to improve this. I need to do this. I need to do this. What about what's already in you? How about that? And bringing that to the world, as opposed to I'm one going after the shining objects, and I have to, and I want to learn, and so I want to learn how to do this better. I want to learn how to do that better. But what about, I'm not going to do everything that passes me by. I'm not grabbing at everything that's passing me by. I'm grabbing at those things that resonate with me, that I know can take me to the next thing. Because if you're not connecting with the right people, then you're just doing something else, a futile exercise that you're not going to finish. I recently reached out to some people and said, look, I'm embarking upon a new venture and I need to know how you describe me. And I was pleasantly surprised how people describe me and the words that they use. Some words I wouldn't have used, some words I do use. But the thing is, I already knew, I was hearing my voice and I knew how I'm starting to show up. And some might say maybe it's a midlife crisis. I'm saying if you're younger than me, don't wait. Don't wait. Do this now. Do this now. Learn who you are. I love the fact that sometimes my grandson will say, oh, I want this. And I'm saying, why? And he's like, because I do. That is powerful to me. That is so powerful for me to be able to say to somebody, I want this, or I want to do this, or this is where I'm called to do. And it's just because, look who's joined us. And it's just because I want to. It's just because I want to. It's who I am. And I love that. When's the last time that you have said something or done something and somebody said, why are you doing it? You said, because I want to. Just because I want to. Too often we're like, oh, well, if somebody asked you that question, if you ever found yourself in a place where somebody asked you that question and then you start second guessing, well, should I be doing it? What in the world is that? I know I've been there. What in the world is that? Somebody, you say, well, no, I'm not going there, or I'm not doing that. And they're like, oh, why? And then you start second guess, well, maybe I should do this. How about just because you don't want to? And in that time alone, or in that alternative place, There's something even better or equally important. It's not to say that what others wanted you to do wasn't important. It could be important to them, for them at that moment. But is it right for you? That's why we need to learn how to listen and know ourselves first and foremost. Absolutely. Be the first partaker of the meal. Be the first partaker of the meal. Absolutely. Be the first one to know, this is who I am. I'm showing up in full voice. And so, again, if you want that new product at all, I'll send it to me. I'll send it to you. I have a free exercise you can go through that will help you really understand and get a better grasp of who you are. No, it's not going to show you. It might be surprising to you, but it is going to be surprising in a good way, because you have no idea all that's bottled up inside of you, that package. And yes, we're constantly building on it. However, do you even know what you already have in your hand? I did a challenge a couple of years ago. What's in your hand? What's in your hands? That's what we need to show up with. And then you can build upon it. You can learn from it. You can nurture it. And so I'm encouraging you to do that. Learn the power in you knowing you. And then when you're ready to have your voice released, and if you're looking for help within that space, reach out to me. My new program, Destiny Speak Out Loud, takes you through 5 steps, which allows you to understand your heart as a change agent. Recognizing takes you from there all the way through the 5th step, where it's your wealth and your worth, serenity. And that's where we need to go, right? My worth, and my wealth, serenity. Because we are here to leave a legacy. And then there's steps in between there that I want to share with you and those who this resonates with. So again, send me your emails. I see some emails popping up. I'm going to get that out to you just as soon as I'm off the broadcast. And if you want to connect with me to come in and talk, speak, I do speak to groups. I come and train teams. I help you get to being your greater you. That's what I'm about. Because far too long, I struggled and I allowed people to impact my identity. Far too long. Didn't know what was inside of me. It's my life's mission to make sure everybody connects as early as possible with their identity. Their Eden mandate identity. So have a great day. Remember, it takes each one of us to create a culture where everyone can thrive. And we do it beginning with us. If my culture, my atmosphere is healthy, then the people around me, my sphere of influence, will be healthy. How healthy are you today? How healthy is your identity? How healthy is your self-esteem? How healthy is your self-worth? How healthy are you today? I'm here to help you get healthier. Let's connect. Have an amazing day and enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye now.